Sir, should I begin the session?
Yes, you should begin.
So I really thank my panelists and the members of CAAP and the ladies and gentlemen who all are present over here in this afternoon. And I am over here. I am Onesha Lahiri, and for today I am your host. And I work as a senior education officer in WWF India, West Bengal State Office. And I am, like all of you over here, is an active supporter of the Foundation of Campaign Against Plastic Pollution, which is also known as CAPP in short. So on behalf of CAP, I welcome you all to this webinar on the impact of plastic pollution on wildlife. So before the session starts, we will be telling you some of the best practices for the session. That is, please keep yourself on mute so that there is no disturbances and everybody can hear the entire session very carefully and nicely. And if you want, you can keep your video on, or if it's according to your choice, if you want to keep your video on or not. But we would ask you, it would be preferable if you keep it off, because then there will be a lot of bandwidth available. And if you have any questions, please do keep your questions in the chat box and mention your name, and also mention the name of the panelist where you are asking the question to. Sorry for my network issues. Actually, it's raining over here. And as I was telling, that you can keep your questions in the chat box and write the name of the panelist to whom you are asking the question. And also please do write your name, and it will be taken up by 5:25. And we also request you to give us a feedback at the end of the session. Also remember, this session is being recorded, as everybody has got the tab of recording, and this will be live streamed in Facebook. So before starting of the session, let me give you a brief about CAPP. As I've already told you, CAPP stands for Foundation of Campaign Against Plastic Pollution. It is a non-governmental organization whose mission is significantly to reduce the plastic pollution in the environment through creating awareness among the people, among general citizens, and to tell people how to curb this plastic pollution, and they educate the people by creating awareness about safe disposal of plastic waste. The members of the CAP come from a wide spectrum of fields, which includes serving and retired civil servants, chartered accountants, lawyers, bankers, social activists, spiritual mentors, journalists, business person, and above all, the homemakers are also there, as you can see. So many other, from many other fields also, various members of CAPP comes from, and our aim is to convert our mission into people's movement, through which we can change the mindset of the people and bring some changes towards the behavior in the plastic use and its safe disposal. This is, as you all know, and I hope you have been a part of this, part of many other webinars also before. This is the 12th webinar of CAPP, and this is also to create an awareness about the various issues related to plastic pollution and to evolve some practical solution to mitigate and gradually eliminate this plastic demon from our beautiful planet. So as you all know, that plastic pollution is a huge problem, and it has a great impact on the environment. And because of this, especially the marine environment, it's polluted heavily. And right now we know that in a week's time, we ourselves are consuming around equal plastic which we have in our credit card or debit card, like the plastic which is used to make a credit card or a debit card. We consume similar amount of plastic in just a week's time. So we don't want this to continue. And there is another very popular joke out there, like going to the market for buying fish. Like there was a person who asked the sailor that, can you give me a plastic bag to carry the fish? And the sailor just said, it's inside the fish. So you can understand the grim situation which we all are facing due to plastic, and the marine ecosystem is being very badly affected by that. We see pictures every now and then that the turtles are dying consuming plastics, thinking it as a jellyfish. We see a picture of a egret or a stalk being covered with plastic. These we don't want such situations. I am pretty sure everybody present over here do not want to see such pictures. And this COVID have also made the situation more bad. By using the plastic usage have actually increased due to COVID, and we have been disposing of our masks anywhere and everywhere, and that is affecting our ecosystem. So we should be mindful of all the uses that we do. Maybe we need to recycle or reuse the plastic which already have been produced. There have been a huge technological upliftment due to our science and technology, and we can use those things to curb this plastic pollution, and maybe not use plastics anymore so that we can curb this. So we also are very fortunate enough that we have very eminent speakers today, and not more, I won't take much time. I will pass on to our first speaker, that is Miss Kanchana Veerakun. Miss Kanchana Veerakun is the founder of Eco-Friendly Volunteers in Sri Lanka. She has been conducting environmental training program for the last 26 years, and she's specialized in the birds, wetlands, organic farming, climate change, and conscious consumerism and sustainable waste management. She's campaigning for zero waste lifestyle, which she has been practicing living for last 21 years in Sri Lanka and in Delhi. She has years of experience in urban biodiversity restoration and green youth leadership for combating climate change. So I would like to call upon Ms. Veerakun to speak for this session. Welcome, ma'am. Ma'am, please unmute
Yes,
yourself.
I got it. Thank you so much. Namaste and Aibowan. And I'm quite very happy to be with you all here today in an Indian audience, because I am from Sri Lanka, but I'm living here in Delhi. So it's really my home here now. Therefore, I would love to share what I have been doing here as an environmental lover, enthusiast, and also practitioner. So some of you I have already met in different forums and different events. I'm so happy to see you here. So let me share my slides without delaying further. So here what I really would like to share today is a kind of a journey of myself, because this journey is like it's a very practical journey. So because I have been doing it on my own, therefore I know the challenges, and especially while living in India, and also I have came up with some solutions. So I am sharing. If you have any questions, you can put them into the chat box, or maybe you can ask later. So thank you so much again. So today the topic is plastic pollution, and of course impact on wildlife. But I really added another little word here: negative impact on wildlife and us. Because me as an environmental and animal lover, I know how animals, including us, suffer because of this. So let me take you into this slide where I see that this all garbage or waste, especially plastic oriented waste, is happening just because of unconscious consumerism. There is no such term as waste in the wildlife, because wildlife, the members of wildlife, trees, animals, and seen and unseen animals, everybody, they never ever produce waste. We, only human, are producing such waste. Waste is, for me, not a waste, it's a resource. Whenever I see these pictures, I feel like, oh my God, such a waste of resources, because all these are resources. If we really look after them in that angle, rather than putting them into the dustbin, if we gave it for recyclers, if we make compost, you can see a banana peel on this first picture on top of other compostable waste. So that banana peel is a yummy food for my earthworms that I'm raising on my balcony. So why can't we really think that way? Because all these are resources. This little boy who is floating on Yamuna River is collecting some resources. He is not picking up waste. It's some resources for these people. And we don't know what is there, what kind of gold mine inside that garbage bag, the black bag, because it is resources that we really unconsciously trap them inside that bag and just throwing them into the landfills. So do you think that producers of these items will take the responsibility? The company? No, they never take the responsibility. It's us who, the consumers, should take this responsibility, because once we purchase something out of the shop, it is our responsibility. So we really have to look after our resources in a wise way, and of course, not to waste anything, because it's all resources that we have to consume with a very mindful manner. So with that, in the introduction, it's already mentioned how much these polythene and plastics pollute our marine ecosystem. This is the Pacific Ocean Great Garbage Patch, where the researchers are trying to find some solutions, where all these resources gone into the ocean, and it is making another disaster like this. Marine animals are suffering every day. This could be I'm sure that you all know about this story. In 2015, this turtle was discovered in Costa Rica with that plastic straw in the nostril. And if you have seen that video, which I'm not playing now, it's really hurting. And if it happens to my nostril, if you think that way in your nostril, what would be the pain like? So can you really bear that pain? And that innocent animal is suffering that with the item that he never consumed, and it is only the human error. And we are the people who are using such straws and throwing them. After consuming less than even a minute, we just drink have everything within very few seconds and we throw it. And we think, no, I put straw into the garbage bin or dustbin. So I did my duty. No, we really are not thinking about these resources beyond that dustbin, because we are not managing it as resources. We are managing as a waste. Once something is wasted, it's very difficult to manage. Therefore, really, we have to look into everything to manage before it's becoming a waste. So how could we do that without killing these animals? Every minute, every second, these animals are dying. And that is the impact on wildlife. And these could be terrestrial, marine, and wetland, and everywhere. This albatross chick, who is full of these plastic kids, never wanted to eat them. And his or her parents fed them to him or her, but without knowing that they think it's fish, but they think it's food, but this is not food for them. And neither for us, it's not food for us. It is something that came with our food, and even that food is not food. These fizzy drinks, this instant food, which are wrapped in plastic, is not even food for us human, but imagine how many of you are consuming such non-food wrapped in plastic, and your consumerism is not conscious at all. So this is where we really have to revisit, and we really have to correct ourselves, make it better. And this is the other impact, the current impact. This non-woven mask, which is we call surgical mask, is now everywhere. And this is the squirrel's nest, which I found here in my park. And I was shocked to see that, because now they are using it to make the nests. And we have enough stories, enough pictures how the masks are damaging our ocean and other animals. So this could be your mask, but not mine, because definitely I have never ever put a mask to the natural environment. I have a solution for that. That's why I'm telling about it in a very responsible manner. So where can we go? We really have to do something today, unless it's waiting for tomorrow, because it will be very late tomorrow, because it is impacting on us, not only wildlife. Every minute we are consuming microplastics, microfiber, with our salt, with our fish, with our water. So every day we are consuming this, and we can really give statistics about this, how much plastics inside our body. And then we are going for the cancer treatments or any other non-communicable diseases treatments. Is this the way that we should live? So we really have to really think about this and do something. So how do we make it better? Every small action matters. So we have to see everything differently. And then we have to have an individual commitment to say no to single-use plastic. And I always pledge, I look after my own waste because it's my responsibility. That's how I have been living zero waste lifestyle for 21 years, even in Colombo and here in Vasant Vihar, New Delhi. This is my mantra. I have been practicing this. I have been preaching this 10R, which I'm not going to share with you today because my time is limited. And instead of 3R, we have introduced this 10R about now 15 years ago. So this is very practical. We can work on it. So these are some items that we have rejected as the first R, that we can reject all these things, and it depends on you. You can choose what to reject, and these are some of the items that I have rejected. Here in this list, particularly I am mentioning balloons and party items and party decors, because when I come to India, I see a lot of people are celebrating, and they have a lot of what do you call these beautiful celebrations like Diwali, Christmas, and many other that I have never had in Sri Lanka. So everything I see with the black balloons, plastic ribbons, and you know that balloons, how much they are polluting our marine environment and animals, because they are not recyclable. They are mostly plastic or even rubber, so they are not compostable. So please think about those things. And I'm not going to go in details, but these are some of the items that I have rejected in my life. And of course, these items, don't make it worse by going for these greenwashed items. All these items are really bad because we can't recycle any multi-layer items. So this video I'm going to share with you, which is my life and what I'm doing with this, because I think you can learn something out of it.
I'm going to show you some of the waste which we collected over a period of time in our home. And these kind of waste are not even noticeable most of the time, but usually we collect them at our home because we maintain a zero waste lifestyle and we never give our waste to the municipal council. And I wanted to share what I do with these things because I'm very responsible about my own waste. And you can see some of the waste are even very tiny pieces. But you can't neglect this tiny piece which came out of a plastic tag from a new cloth. And because just because it's not noticeable, you can't ignore. What I say is here, if I drop it into my white floor, even you can't see it, but it's going to be a very, very dangerous piece of plastic to an animal if he is foraging on the land or even in the water. So these are my responsibility, and we really take care of our own waste like this. What we do is all these non-recyclable, non-biodegradable pieces are going into the eco bricks like this. So this eco brick, usually this is half filled. Now you can hear that it's not fully filled, and I can put all these items which we kept collecting over a period of time. For instance, single-use mask. We usually use the cloth masks, but even clothes masks are coming in these plastic wrappers. And recyclers don't pick up these because it's not large enough for them to sell.
So what we do is all these non-recyclable items, we fill the eco bricks like these, and then we make the structures like this. And there are some theories about eco bricks, but you have to learn it properly to how to make the proper eco bricks, not just fill in all the plastics in the eco bricks, because the solution, there is no solution for multi-layer plastics, non-recyclables. That is what we are using for eco bricks. And then we can do these structures, and these structures, not the buildings, not to expose them to sun or rain. And we have to take responsibility and learn about it properly and do it nicely. So, and other than that, I do recycle all other recyclables, but also I'm looking after my wet garbage, because they can be also nasty for wildlife and ourselves. So wet garbage, we can make our bioenzyme, we can use the eggshells, we can use the orange peels and even the vegetables, and of course make compost, and of course to live in a healthy life like this, having our own vegetables at our home. So this is the story that one can, if one can want to change themselves, you can do anything. I live on the first floor, and I never give my garbage to the municipal council. I have never been doing it for last 21 years. And therefore, I can proudly say I didn't kill any marine animal or any other animal. And I did my bits and pieces to protect Mother Nature. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kanchana ma'am, for such a wonderful presentation. I learned a lot from your zero waste lifestyle, and I would try my best from now on to maintain such sustainable way of living. Thank you so much. I hope everybody liked and understood what she presented in the slides, and it was really nice with the compost and everything. We also do make compost with the eggshells and everything. We have been also trying, and my mother practices the same. And I am pretty sure everybody feels very encouraged and inspired by your lifestyle and would also do the same as much possible from their end. Thanks once again for presenting such a wonderful presentation and showing such a wonderful video and teaching us how to live on a very minimalistic lifestyle with a zero waste. So our next speaker I would like to introduce is Mr. Sohail Madan. Mr. Sohail Madan is the Central Manager at Bombay Natural History Society, Delhi for the last 8 years. He has been instrumental in planning and development of the largest butterfly park in North India, situated inside Asola Bharati Wildlife Sanctuary. He has also played a crucial role in advising the Department of Forest and Wildlife, Government of NCT of Delhi on implementing restoration project and biodiversity surveys. He developed the Green Skill Development Program on behalf of the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Government of India. He has also supported organizing various birds and butterfly-centric festivals across the nation, as well as conducted biodiversity surveys in Delhi, Haryana, and Uttar Pradesh on behalf of BNHS. So I would ask Mr. Sohail Madan to please unmute himself and give his presentation. Over to Mr. Madan.
Good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Thank you, Anisha, for such a nice introduction. I'm flattered by all that you said about me. Uh, Kanchana, ma'am, your talk was actually very inspiring, and it's people like you who can, drive the youth to take up such lifestyle as yours. There were quite a few points that I had never thought about, and looking at your presentation, I think I have learned a lot, and I'm going to try and incorporate some changes from today itself. So thank you for that. I would also like to thank CAP for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to talk about my experience with plastic, single-use plastic all around the wild habitats that I'm fortunate enough to visit. Uh, I was just at Gangotri landscape doing a high altitude bird survey, and instead of using a slide to show you images of what plastic does to wildlife, I thought I would talk about my experience and uh, try and make it into a story of hope. So. All through the bird survey, we were going to different villages, some of them not even connected by road, say 4 kilometers off the road, really remote, high altitude meadows, some very nice lakes. Everywhere we could find plastic. There were attempts by the government, by the department, by the local community, but every village, if you crossed, there was plastic. All through the trek, there were plastic. And all of us know that this plastic has become ubiquitous, it's everywhere. Most of it is, in my opinion, very easily solvable. If remote places like Gangotri landscape can have such plastic, it flows down our rivers. We see the plight of Yamuna in Delhi. Uh, all of this is finally reaching our seas and oceans. And like Kanchana ma'am was saying, marine life is really affected by our use of plastic, and it's our use of plastic. We have nobody else to blame for it. There are some horrific documentaries made on it. The scenes are horrific. Uh, if you see such visuals, you really get to understand the effect we are having on wildlife, how our oceans are getting polluted, how much resources are being put to clean that, how big a task it has become. So these things are freely available with the on the net, and I urge everybody to go check them out. Change begins if we start feeling something about these wild animals. I work with wildlife, so it's easy for me to have exposure to such their plight. But if you would, if you not work in wildlife, it's beyond your radar. So I would urge everybody to go, please see what we are doing to the oceans and how it's affecting the wildlife there. My personal opinion is that change can begin only with us. Like Kanchan ma'am, every body has to take that responsibility and start at least doing whatever they can. And there's so much you can do. I run a conservation education center at a Solabhati Wildlife Sanctuary. So I work with a lot of students, a lot of volunteers, volunteer groups, a lot of social groups that are coming to the sanctuary. And I personally believe that we can't just talk about the wildlife there or the plants there. we have to we have to introduce people to what is the effect of us not thinking right, and our use of plastic being wrong. We don't let anybody get plastic into the sanctuary. We try and create a waste collection system where things that are produced, the plastic that is used in the sanctuary, gets to a recycling plant or something. Single-use plastic is, of course, always been uh, a bane. And I was talking to Dicky ma'am the other day, and we were discussing the same thing, that if we start voting as consumers, vote with our money, the companies that are producing this waste or this plastic, they have to change. And that change has to start from us. We do programs like making eco breaks, workshops on making eco breaks. We do spot cleaning places in the forest where there's a lot of plastic. We go there with a big group of people and try and make it plastic free. We do blogging where we do walks focused on just removing plastic that is found its way in the forest. We discourage use of single plastic and give out prizes or gifts to people like metal straws, bamboo toothbrushes. I think uh, just knowing about it is half the job done. When people realize how easy it is to incorporate such small changes and see the benefits of doing it, more people will do it. It's We can't depend on the government or any institution to come up with the solution if we are not ready to change what we are doing. So, but when I see across the landscape, I do see lots of people working on solutions, lots of people putting out information out there that uh, makes people more aware. I There is place for tiger conservation and vulture breeding programs. That is important, but I really feel that conservation cannot happen if you don't educate people, if you don't make them aware, especially the young that are going to inhabit the world after us. It is our responsibility. The biggest thing that you can do for conservation is always talking to people, informing them about the right ideas, telling them, giving them an opportunity to connect with nature, making space for that sort of empathy and care. If we do just that, I think there is hope. I met in As part of my survey, I was at Barsu, which is just below a Himalayan meadow. I met Arnava Shivastav there. She's an 8-year-old girl who has started Youth Against Plastic, and at her own level trying to do so much, not just in Uttarkashi where I saw her. She had come to celebrate her birthday with the community there, with this idea of cleaning the space also. She works in Delhi too. She does blogging sessions involving big groups of people into, uh, you know, getting rid of plastic or collecting plastic. And she's so passionate about what she's doing. It really blew my mind. I really could not fathom how so easily a small kid has taken responsibility and is willing to go the extra mile, willing to connect with more and more people and start something like this. So we are not even in that space where we don't know what to do. And I think in numbers, if we have communities working for this cause of ridding plastics from our forest, or creating lifestyle changes where we completely reject the use of single use plastic, and incorporate sound practices where we are also repairing, reuse. Every little bit would help. I would like to share uh, Annava Shivastav's video. I don't know if the panel is okay with it. It's a 9-minute video. If I have time, I could do that. Otherwise, I could leave the link of the video on the chat, and you please check it out. And uh, it will be educative as well as inspiring. So, do I have time? Enough time to show the video?
Uh, Anup sir, I guess Anup sir will be the best person, but I'm pretty sure that you do have time. You can show the video.
Can you see this?
Yes. But it's not audible. I think you need to share the computer audio, share the computer sound.
I am sharing the computer sound.
Okay.
We can't hear.
Yeah.
You can't hear?
No, we cannot hear.
Sohail, when you share, did you share the sound? In that there is a little thing that you have to share with audio. Share the screen, and there is a little thing that you have to click share with audio before sharing it.
Mr. Madan, you are also on mute.
Who has to do it? Me
At
have
the
to.
left side bottom, there is a one.
We humans have produced more plastic than in last century.
We can hear
Is it
you.
audible?
60% of this being single-use plastic. Just to put things in perspective, about one truck worth plastic enters the world's oceans every single minute. Let me give you a little background. When plastic was invented in the early 1900s, it was considered to be a smart scientific invention, a wonder material, as it was durable and stable, and it could be cheaply made, which is true. Plastic is amazing. It is the perfect material for so many items, such as laptops, Tupperwares, or even furniture. Unfortunately, though, our use of this wonder material is often far from clever. At times, you could say it is totally stupid. I mean, who thought it would be smart to use a durable and persistent material and make it into everyday items which you use just minutes before discarding, like plastic bags, plastic packets, and plastic straws? Come on, it's not rocket science. And despite the fact that single use plastic is in our faces, in our parks, and on our beaches, and everywhere around, it appears that our policymakers are not prepared to commit to the immediate large scale measures required to turn this plastic tide. I first got sensitized about the perils of plastic at the age of 6 when I had ventured into the Aravali Biodiversity Park with my parents. I came across the most gruesome image, which till date gives me goosebumps whenever I think about it. Would you like to see it too? Okay, here is the image of a dog who probably wanted to drink some water out of the single use plastic bottle, which were irresponsibly thrown in the park by someone, and the poor thing got its head stuck and died because of asphyxiation or suffocation. This image disturbed me for days, and I bothered my parents to no end, trying to understand why or how did something like this happen. Although at that young age I could not understand the science behind plastic or our dependency upon it. But there was one thing I knew for sure, that plastic was bad. and we were to blame. I also learned that because of our negligence, birds and animals were dying because of ingested plastic. I am sure you have seen images like these and heard of whales found dead with stomachs full of plastic. Shocked and saddened by these sickening images, I set out to do my bit and pick up single use plastic which was carelessly and irresponsibly thrown by some educated people. Over the past 2 years, I have been picking up plastic litter, more specifically, the big four plastic polluters. That's single use cups and lids, straws, bottles, and bags. Till date, I have collected 400,000 grams of single use plastic. I have recently also partnered with a group of like minded adults, and together we are able to reach far greater numbers. As my experience and knowledge grew, I learned of the UN's global goals for sustainable development. There are 17 global goals backed by almost 200 world leaders. Their aim is to tackle major worldwide issues, one of which is plastic pollution. The global goals are not just the responsibility of the leaders. The UN makes it clear that everyone needs to take action to help solve these global problems. With the plastic pollution so devastating and real, our decision makers and those in power ought to be scrambling around with great urgency to try to stop this growing issue from growing any more. Some actions are being taken, like the ban of single use plastic bags. Yeah, and rightly so. Plastic stays on the planet forever. So, rather unsurprisingly, this plastic problem is going to stay forever. As welcome as these actions are, I don't think they're drastic or urgent enough. So, we need to try to address this issue before it spirals out of control. From my point of view, the generation which created this problem isn't taking action to remedy it. Even though we all know if we do not take action soon enough, it's going to be too late. And that is why I decided that I am not going to wait any longer for adults to take initiative. I am taking action now because I cannot wait any longer, and neither should you else, or us kids and the future generation will end up inheriting a huge environmental debt. So, feeling rather angry, I mean, passionate about this, I founded the campaign Youth Against Plastic. It is a youth social action project which is designed to have a positive impact. It has one main aim to make the youth plastic clever. No, it does not require you to do anything drastic or time consuming. Rather, some small changes into your everyday life. Being plastic clever effectively means being a smart user of certain plastic products. So, how can you be plastic clever? With using the big four plastic polluters. These are the items that we use every day, often without thought, and yet these one use convenience plastics are hugely damaging our environment. They are unnecessary and quite simple to avoid. Instead, all you have to do is carry reusable alternatives with you. Fill up a reusable bottle instead of buying plastic bottles. Use your own reusable mug instead of the single use ones coffee shops provide. Always carry a reusable bag. And if you need a straw, get a reusable one. In fact, carrying reusables not only makes the money in your pocket go further, but also makes you feel good to do something positive for the environment. It's smart to be plastic clever, right? All of this is well and good. But there is an obvious limit to what an 8-year-old can achieve. So here is my big vision, one which I hope all of you can be a part of. I do not want you to be plastic clever as an individual. Through you, I want your parents, your friends, and school to become smart users of plastic and to make your local streets and your neighborhood plastic clever. I want your school to have a plastic drive at least once a week. Once the schools go offline, of course, where all the children can bring their deposit of single-use plastic, which through my good friends I can have picked up for recycling. You can also start your fight with a big four. Tag me on Instagram with your attempts and activities, and the most effective one will get certificates on weekly basis. Those who are willing to go the extra mile can join me on my weekly blogging session or organize their own in their locality. We all have huge potential. If we say the right things, we can have the loudest voices. We are the future, but also the present. If we want change to happen, we have to be brave to make it happen. Remember, this is everybody's issue, so everybody has to help fix it. Thank you.
This was really nice.
Yes, the little girl is right, and exactly, like, I get goosebumps if kids can think and take such action. I think the world is in the right hands, and yeah. So with that, I would yield the floor, and I think Arnava is going to be in the audience. I don't know, but if you guys want to interact with her, maybe we could call her out too. So, Anisha, all over to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Madan. It was really great, whatever you said. And especially, it was really inspiring to see such a young kid who is thinking a lot for our planet, because they are the ones who will be future, like in the future, they'll be the ones who will be residing over here.
True.
And I would salute to Anna, whatever she's doing, it's great. And I hope many, more than us, the adults, I feel more of the children are concerned about the world, and they have taken it into their hands to make it a beautiful place.
Very true.
So thank you so much. And I personally also feel awareness also does wonders, taking people into or bringing them into many citizen science projects, or taking them into the forest, seeing the nature, and then making them understand the waste which is also littered by these people only, can create awareness. And we can do plug running, as Arna also said in a video, and as you said, Mr. Madan. So these are some few steps which we can do every day, like going for a run to keep ourselves fit, and also picking up some of the single-use plastics, whatever we find. So not speaking further, we would like to call our next speaker, Mr. Wasim Wakram. So he is a conservation biologist working on the human-wildlife conflict mitigation, wildlife crime control, and he studies human-wildlife interaction for the past 8 years. He is a member of Wildlife Crime Control Bureau, Government of India. He has reformed poachers into wildlife protectors through intervention. He has also developed India's first elephant hospital at Mathura, Uttar Pradesh. He's a TEDx speaker. He also has many feathers to his cap. It'll be a long speech of mine only if I have to tell all the things he have done. So I won't take much time. I would request directly Mr. Wasim Akram to unmute himself and speak about whatever he has done, and encourage us and inspire us with his work. Over to you, Mr. Akram.
Thank you, Anisha. I hope I'm audible enough. Is it good?
Yes, you are audible.
So, namaskar everyone. Good evening. Very nice to be connecting with all of you, and really thankful to my co-panelists. I've learned so much in the two sessions that happened. I was actually making notes, so so many things that I've learned now that I would definitely would like to introduce in my own lifestyle. Uh, I'll just quickly share my screen and start with the presentation that I worked on. So I basically work on studying human wildlife interactions outside forest areas, mostly in urban environments and rural parts. And over the years, while working with the organization called Wildlife SOS, I've come across so many such cases where plastic can be a big cause of concern towards our wildlife, our biodiversity. Just a brief summary about the organization I'm associated with in the capacity of deputy director. It's called Wildlife SOS. The organization has been there since 1995, and we run rescue and rehabilitation centers for different species like elephants and sloth bears, leopards, and even reptiles. We assist the forest departments of different states in treatment, rehabilitation of different types of animals who are found in distress condition. Some statistics are there on the screen. Over 700 bears that we have rescued across India in since the inception of the organization, and we are working with the Asian elephants also, elephants which were kept in illegal captivity. As a matter of fact, just a couple of days ago, we rescued another elephant which was severely abused. And we also run some hotlines. These are wildlife rescue hotlines where people call to report any kind of animal emergency where an animal is sick or injured or just in distress and needs to be rescued. So this is how the organization started in 1998. There was a practice called the dancing bear, where people from a particular community were using the bears for performance on the streets. And this was the process that was being followed by them, where they would poach the cubs by killing the mother bear, and then they will just smash the canines and put a rod through the muzzle area of the bear, and then they would just use them for performing. And this was the first project, so that's why I just wanted to touch on it. So they would use these bears for making money, and we basically work with the forest department and other enforcement agencies to bring an end to this practice. But over the years, we have seen that one big challenge which has emerged is the plastic use. This slide I would call as the human footprint across the earlier pristine habitats which were earlier untouched by the humans, but the plastic is finally reaching all these places. We talk a lot about marine environment and the species which are getting affected by these things, but I will actually discuss some cases even in Delhi and other urban areas where the impact has been there on the wildlife that we exist within our surroundings. So elephants or other species like tigers and leopards, these are wide-ranging species. They need to keep moving from one forest segment to another forest area, and they are also the architects of the forest. They need to, for the restoration of your entire ecosystem, it's very important that such species are able to access the other green areas. But unfortunately, because we have started to dump all the garbage and the plastic in the forest areas, in the buffer areas around the forest, these species are not able to access other forest areas, and it's becoming a big challenge now. In the state of Jammu and Kashmir, we started a project with another species of bear called Asiatic black bear or Himalayan bear. And earlier, the idea was just to engage with the communities, because there was a lot of conflict with the bears entering human settlements, and it would lead to negative interactions where people can retaliate. But over the years, we have seen that there is another challenge with the bears getting stuck in the fencings which are used to cover, to secure the perimeters of various fruit plantations in that area, and also bears getting stuck in garbage bins, because these would be open lid garbage bins, and the bears would end up accessing these bins. Either they will get stuck in those bins, or they will end up consuming, which is covered in plastic and kept in those bins. So these situations we have come across with another species of bear also, again in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. And apart from this, now we have even seen similar situations with the snow leopards in Ladakh, where our team is currently working to study how bad is the impact right now with all the plastic that we end up leaving behind when we travel to these areas, for tourism purposes or pilgrimages. We I don't know why, but sometimes people end up thinking maybe that it's just one visit that they are going to do there, and then they will move on to some other tourist destination, so they can just leave whatever garbage they want to leave behind. But while they return back to their native places, the resident wildlife of that area is still around, and it continues to suffer. And these flagship species are suffering, and we really need to be aware about these things. So this is a sloth bear which got stuck in a snare trap. So these snare traps are not only used to secure perimeter fencing, but also being used by poachers to capture animals like tigers and leopards and even sloth bears. It's so deadly that if it's not removed in a timely manner, these animals end up losing their paws. And if they lose their paws, they can't survive in the wild on their own, and they need to be rehabilitated for a lifetime in a rehabilitation center. And it's not just the adult animals, but even cubs. Like in this slide, you are seeing a sloth bear cub severely distressed because it got stuck in another stair trap. And these things happen so frequently. This was the case in Karnataka. So around the forest areas where the buffer areas of the forest are being heavily occupied and by the humans, and because of this, these cases are becoming very frequent. And just like during the introduction, I mentioned about the rescue hotlines that we operate in different cities. In Delhi, we have been doing this work for about 20 years now. Uh, we rescue animals which are found in a state of distress. They are sick or injured or orphaned. But many of these incidents are basically where they are just stuck in some plastic. For example, this one. This is a rat snake. It's a non-venomous species. First of all, we don't really realize that we have such a rich biodiversity around us in Delhi and other urban areas also. So because of that neglect, we don't realize that the kind of things that we are using, the kind of plastic that is being put out there, can be so dangerous and harmful to the species around us that we are coexisting with. Then there are so many bird emergencies. Usually during the kite flying season, also we get these cases stuck in the string or trapped in different types of plastic based wires and strings. And many cases we have seen where the wings are permanently damaged, or they can even die because they are such delicate species. So another case of this is a monitor lizard. Uh, we saw some images of other animals also getting stuck in bottles, but these are also some very frequent emergencies that are reported to us on our hotline. And these animals get very severely distressed because now the animal's face is inside a bottle and it's not able to see where it is, and it's always going to be very distressful for the animal, and taking them out of these kind of situations is also very tricky for us, because we don't want mortality to happen. Some more images of snakes getting stuck in different parts. In Gurgaon, there is one case of a python which got stuck This case happened in a cricket stadium where the snake was stuck in the net. And very recently, we had another situation where a smaller python got stuck in a fishing net in a village area near Agra. So of course, like I said, that when these kind of incidents happen, the animals are severely stressed. You can't just get them out of these things and release them back into the wild. Many a times they are distressed and they're also injured. So you need to provide them proper care. The first case is a baby deer, but the second case is a hyena. It actually got injured in the eye because of some very sharp plastic items which were kept when it was passing through a village area. And when we were doing the surgery, one of our veterinary officer found that even one of the limb, the hind one, the backside, was also severely injured by a snare trap that I was referring to when I was talking about the bears getting stuck in the snare. So apparently, it appears that some poachers was also tracking this animal. So it's a victim of the plastics being heavily used by us and also being used by the poachers. So although my co-panelists have extensively covered ways to tackle this issue, and some of the basics thing that we can start immediately, of course, please stop using single-use plastics. Try to recycle as much as you can, and do spread as much awareness as possible, because I feel that when it comes to the subjects of plastic pollution or any form of pollution or even climate change, these things are like hyper objects. They are so vast and complex. You need to continue and keep trying to learn more and more about it. So do engage more and more with people around you. You don't need to actually go to a wildlife sanctuary or national park to do your bit. Just go to your nearby park and see whatever plastic waste is there. Start from there, or start from your home itself. This is one of the drive that we conducted at a leopard rescue center run by Wildlife SOS in Manikdo in Maharashtra. It's nearby Pune. So we wanted to do just the plantation, but when we reached the site, we saw that there was so much plastic lying there. So it actually became a proper cleanliness and then plantation drive. Similar situation every year, when some important days come, like the World Tiger Day, it becomes a good time so for everyone to engage as well. And we try our best to celebrate more and more of such days, so that at least people can be encouraged to participate in some very responsible activities of cleaning the habitats around them, and taking it forward in a more consistent manner. Again, it's important not just for the people who are working in the field of conservation. It's not just the NGOs like CAPP and Wildlife SOS and other bodies that are working out there, but it's very important for things to reach the grassroots, the people who are working on the ground, the frontline people, and the communities, especially around the forest areas, who are supposed to be coexisting with the wildlife around them. They need to be more and more aware about the kind of impact their use of plastic can have on the biodiversity around them. With this, I would like to conclude. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Akram. As we all know, Wildlife SOS, and we know Wildlife SOS because of the work it has done for rehabilitating bears, and so many work we saw of yours that you have done in the conflict zone by mitigating the conflict. It's really commendable work. I stay in West Bengal, and we have our Sundarban, and where we know about there is a huge conflict between tiger and animals, like similar to most of the areas which you see. So it was really great to see the work you are doing, similar work WWF is also doing in mitigating tiger and human conflict in Sundarbans, and as well as North Bengal mitigating the conflict between elephants and and humans. And we also noted from your talk about the problems that they are also facing, these animals are facing due to plastic pollution. So thanks a lot for your for sharing your work, what you are doing. So and now I would like to hand over to Srimati Uma Srivastav to moderate the question and answer part. I would request Mrs. Srivastav to unmute herself. She is a member of the CAP, and I would request her to moderate the question and answer session. Over to you, Ms. Srivastav.
Thank you, Anisha. Thanks a lot. The panelists have been really, we have learned a lot from the speech by the panelists. They have offered us so many suggestions, and whatever their experiences have been, they have been really educative for all of us. I just wanted to ask from Miss Kanchana, if you are still there.
Yes,
This is a
I
question
am in
posed
the
by.
mood, but I can answer, I hope.
Okay, this is a question posed by Mr. Anup Kumar Shrivastava. As you must be aware, India is bringing in regulation on extended producers' responsibility for plastic packaging. And after it comes into force, it will be the responsibility of the producers, importers, and brand owners to collect the waste created by their packaging, the plastic packaging, and to reuse and recycle them. So we were wondering, what are your views on it, and do you think this will work? Because these brand owners and all, they are quite into a lobby, and will it work?
Well, in this case, even if the brand, the producers or whoever, they are also ultimately the consumers of this planet. So my view is either producers or the consumers, they all have to do their own responsibilities towards this issue. And that when I highlighted that producers are not taking the responsibility, just because at the current situation, none of the companies are taking the responsibilities. But ultimately, they are also, their children, their families are consumers of this planet, oxygen, water, all the resources. So it is not only our duty to protect planet, it is their duty as well. So government impose, even the government's duty, they are also ultimately consumers. So all should play their own roles. And yes, imposing such laws are also workable, and individual commitment is also practical. So it is a kind of a multi-sectorial approach we should take into this issue.
Thank you. I think, yeah, what you said is really correct. We have to take a multilateral approach. And thank you so much, Ms. Kanchana.
Thank you.
I have one question for Mr. Wasim Akram, if you can hear. Mr. Wasim Akram, are you there?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Okay. You just your slides, they were very painful to watch, and it was very eye opener. It was really nice to see that, and also become aware of what these animals they go through because of carelessness. Um, I just wanted to know, maybe you can take it as a suggestion and pass it on. Is it possible to spread awareness through hoardings by wildlife on expressways, major areas where there are crowds, maybe marketplaces? So that would make, especially in areas where these reptiles and maybe the elephants and all are found, the villages and all who are affected, so they sort of they develop empathy towards these animals. And uh, this is just a suggestion. Is it possible?
No, it's a very good suggestion, ma'am. And we have been trying to work on something similar. In the state of Chhattisgarh, there is a lot of wild elephant issue that has been happening, and we are working in some village areas around Raipur. So that is where we have come up with these kind of awareness campaigns. Of course, as an NGO, it's always a limitation when it comes to getting the resources for these
Yes,
things.
true.
Although around Yamuna Expressway, because there were a lot of road accidents which were happening, So there has been some engagement with the Uttar Pradesh Forest Department there also to let people know that you have to be careful when you are speeding away on these expressways.
Right.
And as far as I know, that there is also a police patrol team also for wildlife emergencies on these kind of expressways. But of course, in urban areas, for example, we have the Delhi Metro and these kind of things which are accessible to most of the general public of Delhi. We would definitely want to come up with a campaign to engage more with the people.
Yes, true. You have to engage. We people have to engage and create lot of awareness, because these villages and all, they may not be aware. They will get scared of these, like you said, python and
Right,
tiger, wild bear. So we have
absolutely.
to make them aware of, how to keep them in their own habitat and, let them live.
Right, ma'am.
So you are doing a very good job.
Thank you, ma'am.
I don't think there are any other questions. So over to you, Anisha. You may take over. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Uma ma'am, for moderating the session. So now I would like to call upon Mr. Anup Kumar Srivastav to give his concluding remarks. Mr. Srivastav is the founder, director, and member of the CAB family. And I would again request him to give his concluding remarks for this session. Over to you, Mr. Srivastav.
Thank you, Anisha. Thank you very much for conducting the program in a very professional manner. Am I audible? First of all, I want to know.
Yes, you are audible.
Okay. So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to thank Kanchana ji, Mr. Sohail Madan, and Mr. Wasim Akram for very, very illuminating talk and beautiful words of wisdom they have shared with us. It is going to be useful for all of us. And the central theme that has run throughout the webinar, and which is very common to all these speakers, is that the action lies with us. We should look at us, what we are doing, how we are using the plastic, what harm it is causing to the environment, how it is affecting the wildlife. Then only the action will start from us. So the responsibility is ours, the action also lies at our end. So only when it is another way of saying that charity begins at home. If we have to help the environment, we have to begin with ourselves. And I was particularly amazed and highly impressed to see the video in which the young little girl had you can see the amount of passion she has for protecting the planet and how she is concerned about the plastic pollution. This gives us a ray of hope that it is the youth who will be the leaders tomorrow. They are going to own up the responsibility right from their childhood, and this augurs well for the future of the humankind. I don't want to repeat what all has been said, but we all know how devastating effect the plastic pollution has on the wildlife. When I use the term wildlife, I use it in a very broad terms. Not only the animals living on the land, but also the birds and also the marine animals. All of them have been Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are. We just lost you for a couple of seconds. You're audible now.
Okay, okay. So what I was saying that the biggest sufferers or of the plastic pollution have actually been the wildlife. When I use the term wildlife, I also mean it includes marine life and also the birds. All of them have been affected very badly. And we should all know that the Constitution has laid down number of fundamental duties for all citizens. And preserving the environment, protecting the environment, and having compassion for other living creatures on earth is also a fundamental duty of all of us. So if you see from that perspective, then by fighting the plastic pollution, we will also be actually fulfilling one of the many fundamental duties that our Constitution has laid down. Now, tackling of plastic pollution as it emerges, basically it runs around 3 R's. That is reduce, reuse, and recycle. But I try to modify and say that it is essentially 2 R's. One is to reduce, and second is to reuse. Recycle, concept of recycle is subsumed in reuse because through recycling, we are changing the nature of the product, but we are using the same plastic again. So it is also a kind of reuse. So it boils down to reduce and reuse. And under reduce or reducing the consumption of plastic, we have to give up the use of single-use plastic. We all know it is the single-use plastic which has caused havoc. The plastic has been one of the best, in fact, it has been one of the best inventions in the last century. But single-use plastic has been the worst, maybe one of the worst inventions of the last century. Plastic is fine, but the single-use plastic is not fine. So that is what we learned in that video message, that we have to use not stupidly, but we have to use the plastic wisely. And for doing so, we have to abdicate single-use plastic. This is our responsibility as the consumer. We have to be responsible, although the government will be doing its own role, as many of you would be aware that from next year, 1st July 2022, a lot of single-use plastic, which are considered to be avoidable single-use plastic, which have a very high potential for littering the environment, they are banned from 1st July 2022. That means nobody will be able to produce, store, distribute, sell, purchase, or consume these plastics. So they will stand banned. But why wait for that long? As it is already, that young girl put it very wrongly, it is the time now. We don't have to wait. We are already too late in taking action. So we don't have to wait for 1st July 2022, but we should start cultivating that habit from now, not from tomorrow, from today. That we don't have to use many of the single-use items, which we have single-use plastic, of which we have become habitual. And that is the main thing. Now coming to the second arm, which is about reuse and recycle. Whatever plastic we have in our possession, even if it is single-use plastic, before discarding it, and which is a resource, as was rightly said, we should not treat it like a waste, but like a resource. We should use it, reuse it many, many times before discarding it, before it completes its life. Now, there was a discussion about extended producer responsibility of the producer. Extended producer responsibility framework, the regulation is going to be brought very soon by the government. Many of you may be aware that they have notified the draft regulation, and for which they have invited comments on within a period of 2 months, and that 2 months are taking over on 6th December. And I have gone through that, and it is a very laudable initiative. At least a beginning has been made, because plastic packaging, as you may all know, it accounts for almost 50% of the plastic waste globally. So if we can attend to plastic waste, plastic packaging waste, through the mechanism of extended producer responsibility, it is going to be a very good step, and a beginning has been made, and in which we all have to play the role. Of course, it is the responsibility of the producers, importers, brand owners to collect and reuse and recycle this plastic packaging. But at the same time, we also have to play a role in in the disposal of such plastic packaging in a responsible manner. So I think we have learned, and all of this, how we should do it, how we go about doing it, has been covered very, very beautifully by all the three speakers. So I don't have to elaborate it. And I don't know how much time is left. I think we have a little time. So I also want to conclude what I want to say through a very small video clip. And this video clip of actually the video song sung by many Bollywood producer, and it is brought to us by Bhavna Foundation, which is an NGO, and which is based in Mumbai, and they have done an excellent job by bringing out this song. So I just bear with me for a few seconds, and I will bring it to you. Just a second.
Tick 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 tick. कसम ये खाए रे. Tick 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 tick. Plastic tick ना पाए रे. Tick 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 tick. कसम ये खाए रे. Tick 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 tick. Plastic tick ना पाए रे. अगर सुन लो जो संभले ना हम तो बम ये फट जाएगा कि बहती सी है नदियाँ का ये पानी रुक जाएगा. अगर सुन लो जो संभले ना हम तो बम ये फट जाएगा कि बहती सी है नदियाँ का ये पानी रुक जाएगा. कि कर दो रहम धरती का ये दम भी घुट जाएगा. कि कुदरत की हनस नस में जहर ये बस जाएगा. प्लास्टिक के हम सब मोहताज हैं. कैसा ये समाज है. कल ना हो हाथों में आज है. मौका ये अपना गवाए रे. टिक 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 टिक. कसम ये खाए रे. टिक 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 टिक. प्लास्टिक टिक ना पाए रे. टिक 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 टिक. कसम ये खाए रे. टिक 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 टिक. प्लास्टिक टिक ना पाए रे. सिचुएशन ड्रास्टिक है जहाँ देखो प्लास्टिक है. सिचुएशन ड्रास्टिक है जहाँ देखो वही थैली बोतल स्ट्रॉ इत्यादि सर्रे सर्रे में फैला दी. ना घट पाए ना मिट पाए रह रह के टॉक्सिक बन जाए. इससे छुटकारा तो नहीं पर है एक सरल उपाय रे. सिंगल यूज प्लास्टिक को हम कह दे बाय बाय रे. हम जो मिलकर ठान ले अगर वक्त ये बदल जाएगा कि इस धरती के नामे से बोझा हट जाएगा. Refuse to use, reuse, recycle. ये नए रिवाज है.
Anisha, over to you. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Mr. Srivastav, for your enlightening talk about reuse and about the 2 hours rather than using the 3 hours. It was really enlightening. And yes, we should always know that there is only one planet for us to live, and not only for the wildlife, for us to live in this beautiful planet. We have to start conserving the earth, not use single-use plastic. So without further ado, I would like to call upon Shri Ashwini Khurana to propose the vote of thanks. Shri Khurana is a member of the CAF family, and I would like to call upon her to propose the vote of thanks. Over to you, ma'am.
Anisha, namaskar. Ashwini Khurana, I'm not ma'am.
Oh, I'm so sorry, sir.
Not a worry, not a worry. But as they say, behind every successful man, there's a woman. So Dicky is my woman. She pushes me forward. And we, in my company called Karma Lakelands, do a lot of environmental stuff, whether it is creating the right ambience, the right environment to have birds, bees, butterflies, and thanks very much for giving me this opportunity, Anisha. Kanchana talked about straws, and we have a funny creative at my Karma Lakelands resort in all the restaurants, where we would very hesitatingly for the last many years give a person, a guest, a paper straw. And the creatives there say, suckers suck straws. So we want everybody to be a sipper of drinks. Why be a sucker? Whether it's a paper straw or a steel straw, might as well do without everything. Simply sip your drinks. And Kanchana was responsible to initiate the EcoBricks project at Karma Lakelands. I invite everybody and your friends and relatives and their friends to visit us here and see what all can be done with EcoBricks in a very creative way. Dicky has got some beautiful village-style huts made, and EcoBricks has been a wonderful and a creative resolution to handle domestic day-to-day use plastic. Sohail Madan, again, wonderful person, our partner. He's got us to do the proper combination of planting and the right ambience, the environment created to have a wonderful butterfly garden. And thanks, Sohail, for that. Wasim has been working with us a lot at our place. His talk was so touching, so impactful, especially Anoopji and Umaji, wonderful cab drivers who bring us all together every now and then and shake us up to the rude reality of today's times. One thing I want to add from my side here is, we have to all collectively create a responsible, a conscious planet. And all this, like greening and charity, should begin at home. Now, at Karma Lakelands, 250 people in the staff, one first thing one assures is nobody takes pan masala, zarda, or smoking. The moment you cut out these pan masalas and zardas from the system, one, you'll have a healthy workforce, whether it's your domestic staff or a corporate staff. So cutting out these unhealthy things automatically cut out the plastic pollution, the littering that happens so randomly, and you're creating more responsible citizens of this planet Earth, Mother Earth. And so this is one thing we've experimented here at Karma Lakelands with a lot of hesitation. We thought people would go on mass strikes. We would not be able to source quality manpower by being pushing about our idiosyncrasies on all these bad habits are not expected. And in fact, the first question a new recruit during his interview is asked is, do you smoke, do you take tobacco in any form or not? And if the answer is no, we don't even go on with the second question of asking his name and his abilities to perform in our company. The one thing that we've still failed to be working on, and I call upon all my friends in this forum, is to guide us, to help us find a solution to the 200 ml plastic mineral water bottles that we have to use during our larger events, corporate conferences and all. We're still using our house-treated glass bottled water, which works very well. But weddings especially, these kind of events, there is no solution that practically we found other than the 200 ml plastic bottles. So I welcome my colleagues, my group friends to help me find out a solution. I am not given up on it, but so far not victorious and working on this thing. We were talking about kite flying related injury to birds. Karma cleanse does not allow kite flying to happen. We don't allow firecrackers to happen because they again hurt a lot of animal life, which we're very particular about. At Karma cleanse, there's minimal night lighting because we need to protect the nocturnal creation of God, and light pollution is another very important thing that we work on. Finally, I sign off thanking the Give Me Trees Trust of People Baba, who work with us, who support us in all our ventures, BNHS, Sohail, Kanchana, Wasim, and Anupji, Umaji, and once again, Anisha, you're forgiven for what you said. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you so much, sir. I am so I really apologize for calling you ma'am. Thank you so much, and it was really great to know that about your karmic line, about how you have proceeded to make it so much eco-friendly, and it was really great to hear from you. And what another thing, as you have asked, like to everybody, like instead of the small water bottles, especially in the marriage ceremonies, maybe it can be substituted with glasses that can be given. At least in my wedding, we had around 500 people, and we had given glasses filled with water, or there were water fillers also where they could fill it themselves. So it's just an alternative which I thought of sharing with you. And we have also come to the end of the program. I heartily thank everybody over here who was present in this program, and also the speakers. They have given a really different momentum in this program. A feedback form will be emailed to you after this program, to everyone. Please spare a couple of minutes time from yours, and do fill up the form and return us via the email as early as possible. I would again and again thank everyone, and also apologize to Mr. Khurana for my bad. And thank you so much, and good night. This is the end of our session. We would meet you very soon. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming in this program.
Thank you so much, Anisha. Thank you so much. So we are closing it now. Bye. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank
Good night, everybody.
Thanks a lot.
you. Thank you. Good night.